The following is a production of Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports.
Pass it, to Hoagland, finds Eastman coming in, and she drills it home. Eastman powers it through the back row. Good pass to Hoagland. Now Bartolo, big attack, and that time she put it down. Pushed over the net. It just cleared over by Sobek. Golden Bears have Eastman. Eastman, another big attack and another big kill. Gracelyn Eastman has her handprints all over this third set. Hoagland sets it up for Bartolo, brings the punishment, and drops the hammer. Emmy Bartolo goes up high and comes down hard with that kill.
Video streaming on the Algona Radio YouTube channel is brought to you by Kemna Auto Center, an experience you deserve. Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit. Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed. PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage makes all the difference. Algona Frame and Auto Body, we meet by accident. And Electronic Specialties, North Iowa's communication professional since 1961. Now, here's Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports Director, Tyler Lance.
After a scintillating win on Monday night over the North Union Warriors, the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears hit the road to take on the number one ranked team in the state in the Class 1A Region 1 quarterfinal round. It's 25-4, number one ranked St. Ansgar hosting 12-18 Bishop Garrigan. St. Ansgar first round bye on Monday night, and they'll take on the Golden Bears, who are playing some excellent volleyball here at the end of the regular season and into the postseason. Boy, did momentum carry over for Bishop Garrigan, certainly on Monday night at North Union. We talked about some great wins at the end of the regular season, going on the road to beat teams like Newell Fonda and Spencer, closing the conference strong with a sweep over West Hancock, and just overall some good volleyball being played by Bishop Garrigan towards the closing part of the regular season, and that carried over on Monday night. They started off up 2-0 against North Union, dropped a very tightly contested third set, and then rallied in the fourth set to shock the crowd in Armstrong and win over their conference rival the third time this season that they played against North Union. But now the competition goes up a level. They'll face St. Ansgar for the second time this season. You go back earlier this year, St. Ansgar visited the Bishop Garrigan tournament on September 27th, and the Golden Bears, to their credit, even though they lost 2-0, they played very competitively against the number one ranked Saints, losing 21-16 and 21-19 in those two sets. But this St. Ansgar team, they have not lost a single Class 1A match this year. Their 4 losses, 2 against Class 2A number one ranked Denver. They lost to Class 3A number 5 Humboldt and to Class 5A number 9 Cedar Falls, as they have bludgeoned their way through the competition when it comes to playing against 1A schools in this 25-4 record and the top of Iowa East Conference Championship. We'll get to tonight's first serve between the Golden Bears and the Saints coming up after these messages on KLGA 92.7 FM and the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
The definition of sportsmanship is the quality of showing fairness.
Respect and generosity towards the opposing team and officials.
The things you say and do are a direct reflection of your school and community.
Please stay positive and enjoy the game.
And enjoy the game. Enjoy the game.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports boosters.
Erpelding Voigt & Company CPAs, building wealth beyond taxes.
Steyr Ag Aviation, aerial and ground application agronomy services.
Your local Red Power teams in Bancroft, Corwith, West Bend, and Humboldt.
Neil Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Dump It, Kossuth County's local reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
The Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union encourages positive behavior.
Pride, respect, leadership, and sportsmanship on the court and in the stands.
Remember what a great privilege it is to see your team compete.
Thank you for your attendance. Enjoy the game.
And enjoy the game.
We've got more sports boosters making this broadcast possible.
Greg Penning & Company, certified public accountants, where everyone counts.
Redding Gravel and Excavating, serving Algona and the surrounding area since 1948.
State Line Cooperative, real people, real pride.
Central Financial Group, where you belong.
Murphy Farm Services, your local Generac and Cummins authorized sales and service center, meeting your ag electrical needs and more.
North Iowa Appliance Center, where they sell the best and service the rest.
All sports club members bringing you this game.
Thank you to these sports boosters bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Weikert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Nielsen Trucking, just east of Algona on McGregor Road. Your project is their priority.
Al Lobig Marine in Wesley, your authorized Mercury Repower Center dealer.
The Market. Be happy. Shop the Market.
Reitzel Excavating, unearthing possibilities one dig at a time.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Algona Feed Store, home for all your feed needs.
Bring you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Back inside the St. Ansgar High School Gymnasium for the Class 1A Region 1 quarterfinal round between the St. Ansgar Saints and Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears. The winner tonight will continue their season on Monday against the winner of Lake Mills and North Iowa. Just hitting the top of the 7 o'clock hour here on KLGZ, make that KLGA Algona 92.7 FM and the Algona Radio YouTube stream as the Golden Bears, they'll be down to our right wearing the black uniforms tonight. The yellow stripe and the white stripe as well down the side of the uniforms. White numerals front and back outlined in gold. And the BG and cross logo intertwined on the side of the long uniform sleeves. For St. Ansgar, they've got the sleeveless red uniforms. The white St. Ansgar on the front. White numerals front and back of the uniform. And the red and white arm sleeves on the uniforms as well for the black jersey pants. St. Ansgar down to our left and Bishop Garrigan down to our right here from our vantage point just behind the scoring table from St. Ansgar High School. Great student section here filled in for St. Ansgar. They are all the way up to the rafters on that far side of the court, getting ready to support their number 1 ranked Saints here, who come in at 25-4 and having won 16 consecutive matches to end the regular season. They, of course, had a first-round postseason bye as the top seed in this Region 1 bracket. So we'll see what the Golden Bears can do here tonight. Like we said, they saw St. Ansgar earlier at their tournament in the regular season, playing competitively but falling 21-16 and 21-19. Overall, St. Ansgar, they are 6-1 against Bishop Garrigan, dating back to the 2019 season and the matchups these two teams have had in the varsity-bound era. But the Golden Bears this year, 5th place in the top of Iowa West Conference. St. Ansgar over in the top of Iowa East, winning the conference title outright this year after sharing it last season with Osage. This year finishing 1 game ahead of the Green Devils in the standings with a head-to-head win over Osage for those number 1 ranked Saints. We've got the lineup straightened here, and we are ready to go as Allison Danker will be over to our right, getting ready to serve and start things off. Danker, 25 aces on the season coming into tonight. The Bishop Garrigan senior, one of 4 seniors on the roster, starts middle of the court, right hands the ball over the net, and we are underway from St. Ansgar High School here in the regional quarterfinal round. Here's an attack by Cruzy as she puts it down right off the bat. Short set in the middle, and the 6'2" Cruzy didn't take a huge swing at that one, but was able to put it down into the Garrigan hardwood to make it 1-0 St. Ansgar. Cruzy with an unreal kill efficiency this year, 535, leading all classes. Just for reference, second is 474, so Cruzy, when she gets the ball in her wingspan, she will deliver the points for St. Ansgar as Ava Falk serves. Bishop Garrigan sets up a middle attack for Tegas. Got a block right back to her, but kept alive by the Golden Bears. Hoagland over the near side of Bartolo, but misfires on the attack. It'll go into the net, and it's 2-0 St. Ansgar to start things off. Well, the thing to watch for St. Ansgar, you just look at the court. A lot of length for the Saint team. You've got a couple of 6 feet tall players and a 6'2" player as well. That's a big weapon as Falk shoots a knuckleball over to Eastman near side of the court. Digs it out. Hoagland sets in the backside of Bartolo. Floats it over the top. A diving save by Norby, and the ball sent back across by St. Ansgar. Peterson in the middle to take us. She'll pop it over the top. Now Meyer up front to Parrott. Sets it up for Cruzy. Cruzy hammers it down off the block. Tegas contested, but Cruzy drives that one home, and it's 3-0 St. Ansgar. Bishop Garrigan had 22 blocks the other night against North Union. The blocking effort is going to have to be ferocious tonight against these excellent St. Ansgar hitters. 3-0 Saints. Falk, the senior, arcs it over the net. Eastman pops it sideways over to Hoagland. Gets the ball back near side to Peterson. Peterson hits it over. Deflected, and it drops. It is off the hands of Parrott on the block attempt, and Bishop Garrigan's on the board. 3-1 St. Ansgar. Bartolo sets up out behind the basketball baseline. 28 aces for her coming into tonight. She'll jump serve into the back row. It's played by Falk. Gets it up front to Parrott. Looks to the outside. Here's a big hammer, but it's deflected by the Golden Bears off the Osgood hit. Ball will go out of bounds, and it's a St. Ansgar point to make it 4-1. That ball was smoked from the outside by Osgood. The 5'8" junior for St. Ansgar. Lone junior on their varsity team. St. Ansgar, 9 seniors, 1 junior, 2 sophomores, and 1 freshman on varsity as Cruzy tumbles the serve over the net to Bartolo. Hoagland sets middle for Tegas. Tegas right hands that one down into the hardwood. Kept that one just inside the boundary along the far side of the court. And it's 4-2 with St. Ansgar on top. As Nielsen comes in for Peterson right now. Rakai Nielsen, the top of Iowa West serve efficiency leader at 97.4%. 259 out of 266 on serves this year. She'll arc it over the net. Falk plays it in the back row. Parrott sets in the middle, and Johnston misfires on the attack, but it stays on top of the net, kept alive by St. Ansgar. Punched over by Osgood. Dug by Berkey in the Garrigan back row. Nielsen bumping it over to Eastman. Eastman drives that one through the back row for a Bishop Garrigan point. Falk had the diving attempt there, lunging over to her left, but couldn't sprawl out and save that Eastman kill. It is 4-3 as St. Ansgar's lead at 1 right now in set number 1. Nielsen serving right to left on the radio dial. That one dropping quickly, but diving out of the back row is Falk to save it. Popped in the air by Parrott, and Osgood plays the free ball over the net. Here's Nielsen setting Eastman. Eastman down the line, and Eastman puts it down again. We are tied at 4. Bishop Garrigan feeding number 4 early in this one with back-to-back kills by Graceland Eastman. Bishop Garrigan making sure you get off to a good start here on the road in a hostile environment against the number 1 team, but they're looking pretty relaxed here to start things off. Meyer receives the serve, set to the outside to Osgood, hammers it off the block, covered up by Nielsen. As Hoagland comes to get the ball on the near side to Eastman, she'll push it down the line. Meyer right there for St. Ansgar. Parrott setting for Johnston, guides it over, sent right back by Garrigan. Back to Eastman, hammers again, but blocked back to her by St. Ansgar. From the outside, it's Hoagland tipping it over the top. A diving save by Meyer, and punched over the top, and out of bounds by Parrott. It was actually Norby on the diving save for St. Ansgar, but it was sent out of bounds by Parrott, their setter, and it's 5-4 Bishop Garrigan. Boy, that was a great job by Bishop Garrigan covering their blockers that time. Good back row defense as Nielsen flutters it over the net. Falk up front to Parrott, sets behind her for Johnston, who powers it into the hardwood. With emphasis right there, and we are tied at 5. J.C. Johnston, one of the 3 6-footers that St. Ansgar has. Another senior who Bishop Garrigan saw on the basketball court during that regional final last year these two teams met up in. Over to her left, it's Parrott, near side of the court. Line drives it over the net, and she sticks it on the serve. Right inside the baseline, and St. Ansgar goes up 6-5. Garrigan lets that one go in the back row, but it gets through, and the Saints go back in front after the Golden Bears had briefly taken a 5-4 lead. Parrott spins this one laterally. Nicely played by Berkey in the back row. Nielsen setting for Hoagland. Left-handed attack got blocked back to her, but 4 hits called on Bishop Garrigan, and it is 7-5 in favor of St. Ansgar. St. Ansgar, a state qualifier each of the past 2 years, losing the quarterfinal round both times. This year, the number 1 ranking as the serve is shot out of bounds by Parrott. Got a little too much juice on that one, and she'll miss on that serve to give Bishop Garrigan the ball. And a 7-6 score right now as St. Ansgar maintains the early lead. The sophomore libero, Berkey, spins the ball in her palm, and she'll fire over the net. Here's a set by Parrott. Johnston curling around, and Johnston pulled that attack out of bounds, but we've got a tip called on Bishop Garrigan. They're going to say the Golden Bears deflected it with Eastman. So St. Ansgar will get a break there, and the score will be 8-6. They credited Bishop Garrigan of the point there on the scoreboard, but the official there said that ball was tipped by Eastman, so that'll be a St. Ansgar point. And it's 8-6 Saints here in set number 1. Osgood with the jump serve, played by Eastman in the back row. Pass it for to Nielsen, right back to Eastman. Fires in, she hammers. What a dig by Parrott that time, diving. In the back row, Osgood hits it over, but it's dug out by Bartolo off the tipped ball. Here's Eastman attacking left side, drills it up the block, covered by Falk for St. Ansgar. A set in the middle, hammered by Cruzy, but what a dig by Bartolo. Eastman attacks the other way, and missed out of bounds. 9-6 St. Ansgar. And that's just an example of the kind of difficulties Bishop Garrigan will have tonight. They got a couple of really good attacks off that would be points against most teams, but an incredible dig by St. Ansgar. Bartola had a really good dig herself, but the Saints fend off 2 big Bishop Garrigan attacks as the serve now flutters into the net. A miss there for Osgood and the Saints, and it's 9-7 here in set number 1. The junior Graceland Eastman over to our right. Line drives the serve over the net, sends Falk backpedaling. Parrott will set up outside to Falk, flying in, cross-court attack, and she plants it. Great court vision that time for the cross-court attack. Berkey was the closest Golden Bear to that ball. Made the diving attempt, but could not reach it, as it's 10-7 St. Ansgar. Johnston back to serve right now. Sends it along the far side, and that one is going to be a Bishop Garrigan point. Lands out of bounds. A couple of misses here early by the Saints, especially serving-wise, to allow Bishop Garrigan to gain their footing here in set number 1 and try to settle into this match. Hoagland left-hands it over the net, short serve coming out of the back row to play it is Osgood, and it's pushed across by St. Ansgar's Fried. Here's Peterson setting it up for Bartolo. She'll push it cross court, and it lands out of bounds. Bartolo saw an open space right there, but pushed it a bit too far, and it's 11-8 Saints. 3-point lead over the Golden Bears right now. Macy Meyer, the senior, over to our left to serve. Wearing the light blue shoes as she hammers it off the hardwood a couple of times. And over on serve to Eastman. Good pass up to Hoagland. Looks for Bartolo offside. Got it blocked right back to her. Eastman able to cover the ball for Bishop Garrigan. Now Danker on the outside pushes it across. Deflected backwards. And it drops in for a Bishop Garrigan point. Norby had the first touch for St. Ansgar, but could not get that ball anywhere near the setter Parrott as it's 11-9. Garrigan hanging on here, down by 2 in set number 1. Trying to value all these early points as Danker back around to serve. The Garrigan senior arcs this one over the net. Norby in the back row had a little trouble there on the deflection. Pinballed around by St. Ansgar, and Falk plays the free ball across. Eastman to Hoagland, outside to Peterson. Right-handed attack, and she sticks it. Double block attempt there for St. Ansgar, but Peterson drives that one home, and it's 11-10. Back-to-back points by Bishop Garrigan to get it back to within 1. Golden Bear only lead so far was 5-4 as Danker hits it towards the corner, and it's just out of bounds. Danker, an aggressive server, was hunting out the ace, but couldn't find it, and it's 12-10 St. Ansgar. Falk jump serves it over the net, popped over the air by Berkey. Eastman in the back row looking up front to Tagus, who plays the free ball back to St. Ansgar. Up front, it's Parrott setting Cruzy. Cruzy powers that one down as she corkscrews it into the Garrigan court, and it's 13-10. St. Ansgar, watching them during warm-ups, they do a really good job, and even here in the first couple of points of this match, getting the ball very close to the net for their setter, where she can set one of those 6'2" players to hammer it right down, just like that, as the ball is overpassed right into the paws of Cruzy, who powers that onto the Garrigan side. It's impressive to watch the size the Saints have. Cruzy can just hit that at pretty much a straight downward trajectory from right at the net. She makes that net here look short from the St. Ansgar High School Gymnasium. Falk curves that ball over the net. Berkey, little trouble there, but Eastman comes to rescue the ball, and Hoagland plays the free ball back to St. Ansgar, stuffed back by Cruzy, and then on the second attempt, she's able to push it down into the Garrigan side. It's 15-10 St. Ansgar. And the Saints starting to smell a little momentum here with a 5-point advantage over Bishop Garrigan, their largest lead of the night thus far. Falk serves near side, dug by Eastman, up front to Hoagland, and that bump set lands on the hardwood on the Bishop Garrigan side. Little miscommunication there for the Golden Bears as no one knew who was going to take that next ball, and it's 16-10 Saints. Quick timeout called here by Bishop Garrigan. We'll take it as well on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Elko Radio YouTube channel.
Thank you to these sports boosters, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Weikert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Nielsen Trucking, just east of Algona on McGregor Road. Your project is their priority.
Al Lobig Marine in Wesley, your authorized Mercury Repower Center dealer.
The Market, be happy, shop the Market.
Wrightsell Excavating, unearthing possibilities one dig at a time.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Algona Feed Store, home for all your feed needs.
Bring you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Coming back after the Bishop Garrigan timeout, St. Ansgar 16-10 lead right now as they continue to extend what's been their largest lead of the night thus far. Falk from our left side will serve to the near side of the court. A shorter serve. Eastman with a little trouble there. It's into the net, and Hoagland can't fish it out. 17-10 St. Ansgar. Starting to put a little pressure on Bishop Garrigan with the way they're serving. Falk having an excellent run right now for the Saints. Sets up a step behind the basketball baseline, approaches and jump serves towards the back row. Eastman got turned sideways. Good pass to Hoagland. Looks left side for Peterson. Peterson hammers, but it's stuffed. Cruzy and Parrott on the double block attempt. I'm going to say Cruzy got all of that one, and it's 18-10 in favor of the Saints. Now extending this to an 8-point lead. Bishop Garrigan had it down to 1. Coach Schnur calls the timeout to try to stem the momentum, but that has continued for St. Ansgar as the serve flutters over the net. Bartolo, good pass to Hoagland, pushes it to the back row to Eastman, drills it over the net as it tumbles over to Meyer on the St. Ansgar side. Now Oscar on the outside, attacks. That one might have been heading out, but Eastman played it just to be sure as Bartolo pushes it back across. Meyer, nice dig for St. Ansgar. Parrott sets, Cruzy drills, popped up in the air and kept alive by Garrigan, and the free ball played across. Tremendous back row defense that time. Parrott puts it over. Garrigan with trouble with that ball, and they can't handle it as it drops in. 19-10 St. Ansgar. Well, the Golden Bear defense, they're just keying on Cruzy so hard in that front row, and the center Parrott tries to sneak it over before the third ball. The Garrigan defense was not in position to be able to handle that. It can only take away so much, and it's 19-10 Saints. Eastman digs out the serve. Hoagland right back to Eastman as she'll push it across. Up to the front, it is Parrott looking outside to Osgood. Hits it across the court, but Berkey right there for the Golden Bears. Ball near the ceiling, and it drops in. Another miscommunication as Hoagland and Bartolo are caught looking at each other, and you're starting to feel that pressure build on the Bishop Garrigan side. 20-10 St. Ansgar. Volk sent it back row to Eastman on the serve. Good pass up to Hoagland, looks to Peterson, and Peterson hits it into the net. And it's 21-10 St. Ansgar. And another timeout called by Bishop Garrigan. St. Ansgar's taking control in set number 1. We'll take a 30-second timeout and come back after this with the Golden Bears down by 11 on Hometown Radio KLGA 92.7 FM.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio. Brought to you by these fine sports boosters.
Prism Wealth Advisors, your roadmap to financial freedom.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. Come get you some yum.
Murphy Realty and Management, serving Algona and the surrounding area.
Cook Scrap Iron and Metal. Home for all your new steel and metal needs.
Jagger Associates, North Iowa's roofing specialist.
Steyer Flooring. Home of the Floorinator.
Thompson Sewer and Drain, your septic specialist.
Jake Ingalls Electric. Shockingly good service.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
As we resume, it's 21-10 St. Ansgar. Berkey receives the serve, passes to Hoagland as Peterson pushes it across. Almost dropped that in, but Norby able to lunge over there and get the ball. Bishop Garrigan tries against Bartolo, ripping that one off the block attempt, and Garrigan gets a point on that one. 21-11 as St. Ansgar maintains the lead. The trouble for Bishop Garrigan hasn't necessarily been receiving the serve. That first ball has been a good pass for the most part, but it's when you get around to that third touch when Garrigan's had a few miscommunication issues. That second and third touch, I should say, as Norby plays the ball over the net. Ball is overpassed as Garrigan looks for an attack here. Eastman tips it over and drops it in. Boy, Golden Bears are a little sloppy there trying to take advantage of that, but Eastman, she uses her height to her advantage, 6 feet tall, able to reach over that net, not get a net violation there, and just lightly drop it onto the St. Ansgar side to make it 21-12. Bartolo line drives the serve. Played in the back row by Meyer. Here's a set outside to Osgood. Hammers it down the line and off the hands of Bartolo. Osgood rips that one into the back corner of Bishop Garrigan, and it's 22-12 St. Ansgar. 3 points away from a set 1 victory over the Golden Bears. Cruzy back to serve. Punches it over the net to Bartolo. Finds Hoagland. Now it's Eastman left side. Eastman drills that one down. 22-13 as Eastman's having a big first set for Bishop Garrigan. Golden Bears still down by 9 though, 22-13. And Rakai Nielsen serving right now. Cruzy on the pine here for St. Ansgar. Still plenty of size for the Saints, but we'll see if the Golden Bears can capitalize on that as Nielsen serves towards the back corner to Meyer. Set by Parrott, the tap over the net by Johnston, and she puts it down. Johnston levitated in the air that time on a set that was a little bit off target, but she was still able to do something good with that and put the Saints up by 10, 23-13. Now it is Parrott near side of the court. Line driving the serve off the hands of Berkey for an ace. Ball deflects backwards all the way out towards that back wall here in the gym, and the Saints have set point 24-13 over Bishop Garrigan right now. Here's Parrott. That serve just got over the net. Berkey digs it off the hardwood, deflected sideways, and Bishop Garrigan's going to run out of touches here as that serve by Parrott gave them all kinds of issues, and the Saints will take set number 1, 25-13. Bishop Garrigan will try to regroup. Set number 2 coming up after this from St. Ansgar High School and on KLGA 92.7.
We've got more sports boosters making this broadcast possible.
Stroman Family Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Greenfield Spreading and Sales for all your spreading needs.
J&J Custom Meats in Whittemore, continuing the traditions.
West Bend Community Lumber, your local Marvin and Birch dealers.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used car sales needs.
Tangle Salon for cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy.
Bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Thank you to these sports boosters, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Fairway Meat and Grocery, everything's easier, fresher, and faster with Algona Fairway.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
The Algona Manor Care Center, your home away from home with quality care.
Farmers State Bank, a strong history, a bright future.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage makes all the difference.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
St. Ansgar closing the first set of a dominant 14-2 scoring run, and now Bishop Garrigan tries to regroup for set number 2, down 1-0 here against the number 1 ranked Saints after dropping that first set 25-13. Well, the good news for Bishop Garrigan, he did do some good things in that first set. It took a minute there for St. Ansgar to settle in. Golden Bears played competitively there for about the first 21 points, as it was 11-10 St. Ansgar. Saints had missed on a couple of serves, had a few attacks land out of bounds for errors, but they dialed it in, and Bishop Garrigan really felt the punishment there during that 14-2 run. But you saw some really good things defensively early on for Bishop Garrigan. Can you get back to that? Try to stave off a few attacks by the Saints that really come in with a lot of smoke on them. You just got to find a way here to just keep the ball alive as long as possible and eventually hope the Saints can make a mistake at some point. But like we said, just such a diverse offense for the Saints. So many different options. 3 6-foot-tall players, a really good setter of Parrott. Athleticism in the back row. They have a lot of the ingredients that you need to be ranked number 1, as they have been for the last few Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union polls in Class 1A. So Golden Bears will look to regroup here in set number 2 and try to get back to what kept them competitive there in the early part of set number 1. Again, just the defense really stood out. You got to be really blocking aggressively, but it's more so the back row players even, because you know you're going to be dealing some fireballs coming into the back row. Can you still find a way to pass off of that, make smart plays, and run your offense, even with the kind of aggressive attacks that the Saints are able to bring? So the final lineups are being figured out here, as Johnston will start on the bench for the Saints with Norby the libero, wearing number 23. That white jersey for St. Ansgar coming in here to start the second set. Saints with their third straight 24-plus win season this year. As we mentioned, back-to-back top of Iowa East titles, with last year a shared title with Osage. This year an outright title. 7-0 conference record this year for the Saints. As Meyer will serve to start things off. Meyer right-handed over the net, and we're underway in set number 2. Takis bumps it into the middle to Hoagland, who left-hands it over the net. Meyer lunges and saves it. Parrott bumps it outside looking for Falk. Falk guides that ball over, but she got underneath it and lifted it out of bounds. Falk looked to be caught in between there, between just kind of swinging and tipping that over the net. And Bishop Garrigan grabs the first point. 1-0 to start off the second set. Bartolo ready for the serve. She fires. Dug by Meyer. A slightly overpass. Parrott trying to save it, but she cannot. Parrott did a good job of not getting the lift there. She tipped it up in the air off her fingertips, but Johnston was expecting, or Cruzy rather, was expecting a higher set, so she jumped way up in the air, and that ball was lower than she jumped, basically, as Bartolo end over end serve for the Golden Bears up 2-0. Parrott sets it up for Falk, punches it over the net, but Bartolo digs for Bishop Garrigan. Hoagland near side to Eastman. Eastman hammers, but it's blocked right back to her by Cruzy. Boy, did Cruzy get a good read on that. Much like I talked about Bishop Garrigan, you're looking for number 6 on the floor, the 6'2" Cruzy for St. Ansgar. The Saints are saying, hey, we've got to find number 4 at all times and send our 6 feet players her way to try to block her. 2-1 as the service sent over to Takis on the front row, deflected by Hoagland, and Peterson somehow guides the free ball in between the uprights. Parrott sets in the middle, Cruzy hammers, blocked by Garrigan, but out of bounds. They had Takis and Peterson right there to contest Cruzy, but again, that swing of such force that the ball deflects out of bounds along the far side of the court, and the Saints tied up on 2 off the Cruzy kill. Here's Ava Falk, who gave Bishop Garrigan a lot of trouble during that big run with her serving, as Eastman will get it into the middle of Hoagland, left-handed over the net. Falk up to the front to Parrott, sets it up for Osgood. Osgood flies in and powers that one down. She got a full head of steam, running start that time from the left side, and the Saints rip off 3 points in a row to go up 3-2 over the Golden Bears. Falk will serve here as she serves short again to Takis in the front row, deflects it towards Hoagland, right back to Takis, who hammers, but got blocked by Cruzy there for St. Ansgar, and it's 4-2 in favor of the Saints. You saw the Golden Bears make a good adjustment there, though, as they were ready for that front row serve. Got a good attack off, but Cruzy with a better block, and it's 4 straight here for St. Ansgar. Everyone getting lined up here as Falk awaits the ready for play. Falk flutters it over the net. Bartolo receives it middle of the back row. Finds Hoagland. Eastman flies in, powers it down the line, and it's off the hands of Meyer. It's a Bishop Garrigan kill. That one was right near the boundary. I think was heading out there, but Meyer kind of lost track of where she was and played that ball as Eastman gets another kill, and it's 4-3. Rakai Nielsen, 32 aces so far this season for the Golden Bears. Arcs it over the net, a shorter serve dug by Meyer. Parrott tips it up in the air, and a great set, and a great finish by Cruzy. That initial pass was very close to the net. A very tough ball for Parrott to try to set, but again, she just put Cruzy in a great position there to drive that one home and give the Saints a point to make it 5-3. Cruzy with the serve, arcs it over the net. A nice dig by Berkey in the Garrigan back row. Ball into the center to Eastman, who free balls it back to St. Ansgar. Up front, it's Parrott looking for Johnston, and she swings and misses. Boy, that's a rare sight right there. Johnston, the prolific hitter for St. Ansgar. Timing was off between the jump of Johnston and the set of Parrott, and that was a total swing and a miss on that ball. 5-4. Johnston was going to try to drill that ball into the center of the earth. With how hard she swung at that is Parrott. We'll get it over to Falk, tips it over the net. Right there's Eastman, a good play for Garrigan. Nielsen right back to Eastman. Eastman throws a changeup over the net, and it is played by Meyer as Meyer deflects it, and that'll be a Bishop Garrigan point. That's another ball that looked like it was going to head out, or at least very close to the boundary, but Meyer wanted to play that borderline ball, and Eastman will get the point to tie it up at 5. Berkey rainbows over the net. Meyer for the dig. Parrott to Johnston. Johnston towards the back row, and it's out of bounds. Out of bounds, and the Golden Bears go up 6-5. So Bishop Garrigan coughed up that 14-2 run to end the first set, but they have clearly flushed that and moved on here. Another competitive start here in set 2. 6-5 Golden Bears as Berkey's serve will knuckle into the net, and the Saints will tie it up at 6 apiece. That'll get the largest roar of the night from the student section, who was waiting for Bishop Garrigan to have a fault there on the serve. And Sophia Parrott, who maybe gets lost in the shuffle, but has been one of the most impressive Saints tonight, serves it over to Eastman across the court. Nielsen backsets for Hoagland, left-handed attack. Cross court, hammers it off the hands of Parrott. Alyssa Hoagland with the kill, and it's 7-6. But this ain't offense. I was going to credit Parrott. It would not work without what Parrott's doing. She could take an off-target pass and turn it into a perfect set to the likes of Johnston and Cruzy, as we've already seen so far tonight. Eastman serves down the far side of the court. Osgood makes the initial touch. Parrott right back to Osgood. Ball's deflected by Garrigan on the block attempt. Nielsen over to Bartolo, hits it across the court. Right there, Norby for St. Ansgar. Parrott sets in the middle, tipped over the net by Johnston, sent right back by the Golden Bears. Now Hoagland sets it up for Bartolo, hits it, and it's blocked again. It is blocked this time by the 6-foot-tall senior Alexis Frine, and the Saints tied up at 7 apiece. And again, Garrigan's throwing all their best stuff at St. Ansgar, but the Saints playing some great defense against the Golden Bears in this one. Here's a running start for Osgood. Serves towards the back row is Berkey. We'll find Hoagland in the middle. Now it's Bartolo hitting it towards the back row, and that one will sail out of bounds and put the Saints up by 1, 8-7. That initial pass sent Hoagland on a little bit of a venture there towards the middle of the Garrigan court. Made it a bit harder to set Bartolo in the nitro zone. As Osgood sprints up, she hammers that serve over the net where it's played by Eastman. Hoagland works it over to Bartolo, who puts it onto the St. Ansgar side of the court. Norby to Falk, and Falk misfires on that attack. Tried to just guide that ball over the net. Almost got caught on her hand there as she steered it into the net, and the Golden Bears will tie it up at 8 apiece. Peterson in for the Garrigan front row as Hoagland is over to serve right now. Hoagland 23 aces, over 95% serve efficiency is the southpaw. Arcs it over the net. Norby finds Parrott up front. Look out, here comes Falk, and that ball blocked but out of bounds. Or a net violation rather by the Golden Bears. And the Saints will go up 9-8 here. But you can just see every time the Saints get a good first pass, it's almost an automatic point because Parrott's sets are going to be right in the nitro zone of their attackers. Served by Johnston, deflected backwards by Eastman. Berkey to Hoagland, and a free ball heading over to the Saints. Little collision there for the Saints. They get a good set off anyways, and the ball is guided into the corner by Ava Falk. It is 10-8 St. Ansgar. They made something out of what looked to be a tough play to start off with two players in the back row bumping into each other, but ball ends up in Parrott's hands, and that point ends up being delivered by St. Ansgar. Johnston serves, Eastman receives it. Here's Danker guiding it over the net, and Danker lobs it into the near side corner for a Bishop Garrigan point. Well, that's one of those off-platforms, off-kilter attacks. Kind of had to play it over sides of the net over the shoulder, but great vision that time to see the open corner, and it's 10-9. Saints up by 1 here in set 2. After winning the first set 25-13. Here's Parrott setting for St. Ansgar high in the air. The attack is drilled down by Frine from the right side. 11-9 Saints. That is just devastating for the defense as it's a 2-point lead right now. Meyer over to our left to serve. She arcs it near side of the court. Eastman has to sprint out of the back row to get that as the Saints can now set up an attack here. Parrott will find Osgood, hits it into the back row, played by Eastman. Passes to Hoagland, now it's Peterson. Hits it over the net, deflected by Norby. Meyer saves it and keeps it alive as Parrott punches it over her shoulder, but out of bounds. The Saints nearly pulled off some incredible acrobatics to save what eventually turned into a Bishop Garrigan point, but that ball looked like it was going to drop 2 or 3 times before Parrott ultimately hit it out of bounds over her shoulder. 11-10, 1 point Saint advantage. Meyer receives the Bartolo serve. Parrott will set it up in the air, but this time it's going to be a 2-hit call against Parrott. Once again, that initial pass by St. Ansgar is off target. Parrott has to make an incredibly athletic play to try to set that ball and gets called for the 2-hit violation as we're tied at 11. Bartolo serves towards Meyer. Meyer a little trouble there on the pass. Parrott ventures way out to get that ball. Set for Osgood, who powers that down. Osgood with the kill, but Parrott went way out of position to go track down that ball. Just bumped it over her shoulder with no vision of where the hitters were and somehow put it right where Osgood could deliver the kill. It is 12-11 Saints. Falk arcs it over the net. Bartolo plays the serve, gets it to Hoagland, looking for Eastman left side. Eastman drills that one down. Was it in bounds? No, it was not. It was out of bounds and it was not tipped. And wait a minute, we may have a difference of opinions here. Is the official in the corner is going to overrule that and say it was tipped. Coach Schnurr came firing off the Bishop Garrigan bench to say, hey, that ball was tipped. And the baseline official agreed and told the officials at the net that, yep, that ball did get tipped by St. Ansgar. So Golden Bears will tie it at 12. Sticking right with the Saints here in set 2 as Nielsen sends it to Meyer in the middle of the back row. Ball's overpass. Tagus jousts to the net. Kept alive by Parrott. Tagus hits it again. And this will be a whistle and a St. Ansgar point. They're going to say net violation here for Garrigan. And it's 13-12 Saints. It's another play where, again, gets a lot of teams. That ends up being a Bishop Garrigan point. But Parrott withstood that initial force by Tagus. As it's 13-12, Hoagland receives the serve. Nielsen setting for Tagus. She'll punch it over the top. Meyer right there for St. Ansgar. Parrott setting it. Osgood down the line. And Osgood guides that one into the corner. Pinpoint accuracy, and it's 14-10. Golden Bears are playing well so far in the second set, but boy, the meticulous attack here by the Saints has given them this 14-12 lead. Cruzy. End over end serve, popped up in the air by Berkey in the back row. Nielsen ventures out to get the ball as Eastman plays the free ball back to the Saints. Cruzy up to the front to Parrott, looks outside to Osgood. She hammers, it got blocked, and that one's going to stick on the St. Ansgar side. They sent two blockers over there of Hoagland and Tagus, and Bishop Garrigan puts up the brick wall there to make it 14-13. Back and forth we go, trading points here in set 2. Saints up 1-0 on their home hardwood. Garrigan trying to even the score as Berkey arcs it end over end. Played by Falk in the back row, finds Parrott, curling around is Johnston. Johnston guides it over. Initial diving save by Bartolo, but that ball will shoot underneath the net. And Johnston took a little off that one to go for the accuracy. It is 15-13 St. Ansgar. Parrott along the near side of the court, shuffles up, serves it over the net to Berkey in the middle of the Garrigan back row. Nielsen sets middle this time for Eastman, brings down a big swing, but tipped to the net by St. Ansgar. Norby bumps it up in there to Osgood on the outside, got it blocked right back to her, kept alive by St. Ansgar. Now we'll try from the right side, cross-court attack by Frein, dug out by Nielsen for Bishop Garrigan as Eastman pushes it towards the corner. Falk makes the first touch. It's Parrott. She'll find Johnston. Guides it over. Dug again by Nielsen. Hoagland sets for Eastman. Eastman brings down the right hand. Ball's covered by Bartolo off the St. Ansgar block. Punched by Eastman. It goes over the net. Right there again are the Saints. Set by Parrott. The hammer and the finish by Johnston. Well, Golden Bears played great defense on that point, but the Saints just a little bit better, and they go up 16-13. You can feel the Golden Bear defense just trying to get in position, almost anticipating where the attacks are going from St. Ansgar, but eventually the Saints are just brute forcing their way through to get a point. 16-13, and then 16-14 as the serve goes into the net. An error for Parrott, and Bishop Garrigan gets one back. Down by 2 right now with the Golden Bears. Key time right now of Graceland Eastman serving. Eastman into the top of the net, and that one won't get over. Bishop Garrigan error, and it's 17-14 St. Ansgar. Well, it's just a 3-point lead, but that feels like a lot of how hard Bishop Garrigan's having to work for every point they get. Each time they get a point, it feels like one of the more impressive points of the night with the defense the Saints have played as that service rocketed over to Eastman. Gets the dig, finds Hoagland, now to Bartolo, who taps it over the net. Right there is Parrott for St. Ansgar. Norby bumping it up there to Osgood. Osgood brings down the right hammer. Ball's deflected backwards by Garrigan, and they can't return this one. Osgood makes it 18-14 Saints. And Bishop Garrigan quickly sensing this momentum slipping away will call a timeout. Bishop Garrigan down by 4 late in set number 2 here on Hometown Radio KLGA 92.7 FM.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio. Brought to you by these fine sports boosters.
Northwest Iowa Bone Joint and Sports Surgeons, proud to serve area athletes.
Hy-Vee. Use your fuel saver card Fill your cart, fuel your car.
Miller Construction, proud supporter of area athletes.
Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed.
Premier Pizza, your locally owned pizza place in Algona.
Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit.
Farm Bureau financial agents Dave Beisch and Daniel Fote.
All bringing you this broadcast on Hometown Home Country Radio.
It's St. Ansgar 18, Bishop Garrigan 14 in set number 2. Golden Bears in danger of falling behind 2-0 on the road against the number 1 ranked team in the state as the service rocketed over by Osgood, overpassed by Eastman, and that ball is punished from the left side by Falk. Not a whole lot of overpasses tonight for Bishop Garrigan, but when there has been one, the Saints have been ready to take advantage as they're up by 5. Largest lead of the second set for St. Ansgar. Osgood sprints up. She fires over the net as Berkey will dig out that serve. Hoagland gets it over Bartolo left side. Bartolo attack is long and out beyond the back row. It is 20-14 St. Ansgar. Bishop Garrigan stuck in this one a little bit longer than the first set, but you can feel the Saints starting to put the foot on the gas pedal right now. This ball is lobbed over the net into the front row. Danker to Hoagland, punches it over on second contact. Norby there for St. Ansgar. Parrott sets it up behind her. Cross-court attack by Frein, and Frein able to drill that one through the back row. 21-14 Saints. And a timeout called again by Bishop Garrigan, their final timeout of the set. Well, on that last point for St. Ansgar, it was Osgood, the server that time. Instead of shooting a rocket ball into the back row like she's been doing with that huge running start, instead just lobbed a little lofting knuckleball over the net. A good play by Danker to be ready in the front row, but Garrigan had to just punch it over on the second touch because they weren't going to get any offense off of that. And then the Saints, they come into Frein, the third of the 6 feet tall players that we've mentioned tonight, who hammers it from the right side. That's a 7-point Saint lead. St. Ansgar by a touchdown here, 21-14 in set 2. They took the first set 25-13. Osgood runs up. She'll rocket this one into the back row. Off the hands of Berkey for an ace. Went back to the heater that time, and it's a 22-14 advantage. It was 14-12 not too long ago, but an 8-0 run by the Saints has established command as the Osgood serve goes into the net as she jumps in the air in frustration. 22-15 as Bishop Garrigan will try to find a way to work back into it here with Hoagland serving. Peterson into the front row, Nielsen going to the pine. The left-handed senior with a serve that just trickles over the net, and the friendly Garrigan bounce will result in an ace. That ball was an arcing ball that landed directly on top of the tape, deflected over, and ricocheted off the hands of Frein in the front row for a Bishop Garrigan point, 22-16. Hoagland again puts a little more distance on this one as Falk in the back row will pass up to Parrott. Right back to Falk, who flies in and got too much juice on the attack. But was there a tip? There was a tip by Bishop Garrigan. Ball went out of bounds, but it was touched, and it was 23-16. That's the score now here as the Saints go out on top with 2 points to go here to take a 2-0 lead. Johnson from the middle walks up and serves far side of the court, deflected backwards by Eastman, and the Gold Bears can't return this ball. It's an ace by the Saints, and they have set point with a 24-16 advantage. Johnston offers the serve up to Eastman on the Garrigan side. Looks for Hoagland, now to Danker. Danker will push it into a block, but Danker popped it up and kept it alive. Bartolo hits it with the right hand, but it's into the top of the tape and will not go over. St. Ansgar takes set number 2, 25-16, as the Golden Bears are down 2-0 on the road. Set 3 coming up after this here on KLGA 92.7 and the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society Algona, senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Algona Dairy Queen, happy tastes good.
Engineered Farm Drainage, specializing in drainage tile solutions. Visit them on Facebook or engineeredfarmdrainage.com.
Sportsman's Corner, your power sports headquarters. Can-Am and Honda side-by-sides, ATVs, and motorcycles.
Farmers Co-op of Odison and Algona, offering Kent feeds for your livestock projects.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840. Thank you to these sports boosters bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Capacious Brothers Incorporated, Pioneer Seed.
Flipside in Laverne, open 7 days a week, dine in or carry out.
Advanced Drainage Systems, our reason is water.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Billy Offerman, your Algona State Farm agent.
Snap-on Tools, the most valued tool storage solutions in the world.
Sponsoring this broadcast on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
here for the third set from St. Ansgar High School. It's the Saints taking the first two over the Golden Bears 25-13 and 25-16. And a similar story in each of the first two sets. Golden Bears playing competitively early on for about the first, we'll say, third of the first set and about the first 50% of the second set, but the Saints with a late push each time. In the first set, it was a 14-2 run to pull away and take command, and then that last set, an 8-0 run that turned a 2-point lead into an eventual 10-point lead for the Saints as they ended up winning 25-16. Danker serves to start off this third set for Bishop Garrigan. Parrott sets, punched over the net by Cruzy, sent right back over by Tigges. A bump set this time by Parrott, an attack by Falk, and that ball is stuffed. Tigges and Peterson patrolling that right side for Bishop Garrigan, and everyone on the Saints defense had flowed up towards the net. There was nobody home in the back row. 1-0 Bishop Garrigan. Danker right hands this one off the top of the net. It deflects and it results in an ace. A little deflection there threw off Meyer in the St. Ansgar back row. And that was enough to give the point to Bishop Garrigan and make it 2-0 as Meyer could only get a quick touch on that ball as it went out of bounds. Danker serve towards the back row. This time Meyer passing up front to Parrott, set middle for Cruzy. She jumps and she guides it over for a point. Cruzy leapt up in the air way off the ground like she was going to go for a huge kill shot. Then she pulled the arm back down and just popped it over the net lightly as she levitated in the air for that point. 2-1. Bishop Garrigan up by one here. Falk's serve is overpassed by Berkey, and that ball is smashed down from the right side by Parrott. She does not get a whole lot of opportunities to do that, but she punishes Bishop Garrigan for that overpassed ball, and we are tied at 2 in set number 3. Served by Falk near side of the court. Eastman has it rocket off the side of her hands. Hoagland ready for it, though, and Takis will send it over on the third touch. Parrott sets. Cruzy hammers. Cruzy missed out of bounds, and it was not touched by Bishop Garrigan. There was a moment there where the officials looked at each other. Did you have a tip there? Nope, I didn't have a tip. Did you have it? Nope. So Garrigan gets the point, and it's 3-2. Bartolo serving right to left, sends a laterally spinning serve to Norby. Parrott keeps it out of the net. The hammer by Cruzy drills it off the hands of Tigges and out of bounds. Point for St. Ansgar to tie it at 3 apiece. And once again, it's Parrott taking a difficult pass and still turning it into a good set as the Saints have locked it up at 3 apiece. Cruzy serves end over end. Bartolo passing up to the right side to Hoagland. Works it over to Eastman, but she can't put it down as the ball is dug by Falk. A sparring match at the net as it's forced over by Tigges. Meyer pops it up in the air for the Saints. It is just deflected over the net there by Johnston and lands on the Garrigan side. Johnston didn't really even look there, had her signed to the net. With the offhand, popped it over the net, and it lands for a point to make it 4-3 Saints. Cruzy shuffles up and serves short. Tigges to Hoagland. Now right back to Tigges, who right hands it towards the back row. Falk gets it up to Parrott. Looks out to Osgood, pushes it down the line, off the hands of Hoagland, and Bishop Garrigan won't be able to return this ball. 5-3 St. Ansgar. Parrott continues to just wheel and deal in the front row. This is by far the best setter Bishop Garrigan's gone against this season. Line drive serve, rockets off the hands of Tigges and out of bounds. And St. Ansgar is putting pressure on right now. They're serving into the Garrigan front row and saying, can you run your offense from there, with one of the front row players making the first touch. That initial pass, 6-3, this time the serve goes back row to Berkey. Stays back row to Bartolo on the second touch, and Eastman deflects it over the net. Diving save by Falk for St. Ansgar. Parrott will set it up for Johnston. Cross-court attack, but it's dug by Hoagland. Now Peterson to Eastman. She'll push it across. Tipped the net by the Saints. Parrott setting it outside for Osgood. Hammers, block, but the block will go out of bounds for Bishop Garrigan. They're continuing to aggressively block and try to stave off these St. Ansgar attackers, but it's just not staying in play for the Golden Bears right now as the Saints, they're up 7-3. Cruzy knuckleballs it over the net. Bartolo overpasses it. Parrott punches it over. Diving save by Bartolo. Peterson up to the front to take it. She'll push it across, but it's stuffed right back down by Johnston. Johnston read that play the whole way, and a timeout called by Coach Schnurr and the Golden Bears. 8-3 in favor of St. Ansgar in set number 3. We'll take a quick timeout as well here on Hometown Radio and at the Elgort Radio YouTube channel.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports boosters.
Erpelding Voigt and Company CPAs, building wealth beyond taxes.
Steyr Ag Aviation, aerial and ground application agronomy services.
Your local Red Power teams in Bancroft, Corwith, West Bend, and Humboldt.
Neil Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Dump It, Kossuth County's local reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
St. Ansgar trying to take control of this third set, up 8-3 right now. Serve received by Kate Berkey for Bishop Garrigan. Hoagland bumps it over near side to Eastman, and Eastman near the scoring table ran out of room. 9-3 Saints. as they took the first two sets 25-13 and 25-16 with late pushes. Now for an early advantage here in set 3. Cruzy lobs this one over the net, played by Tigas in the front row. Hoagland will get it over to Eastman, and she will hit that one out of bounds. Was trying to play the free ball there into the St. corner and work that into the back row, but that deflection by Eastman is too strong, and it's 10-3 Saints. Cruzy works her way up, serves towards Bartolo. Passing it up front to Hoagland in the same territory as Eastman. Hits it into the back row where it's dug by Cruzy. Parrott looking outside to Osgood. Osgood pops it over the top. Right there to cover the ball is Hoagland for Bishop Garrigan. Peterson to Eastman. Free ball back to the Saints side of the court. Falk finds Parrott. Here comes Falk from the right side, punching it over the net. Berkey right there for the Garrigan dig. Hoagland sets Eastman left side. Eastman hits it cross court. Dug by Meyer for the Saints. Parrott to Osgood. Down the line, out of bounds, but was it tipped? They say it was. It's a Bishop Garrigan deflection, and it's 11-3 St. Ansgar. A couple of those so far in this third set with Garrigan deflections. Cruzy hits it into the back row off the serve. Bartolo sideways to Peterson, gets it back in the middle to Tigas, who right-hands it over the net. Meyer near the boundary, overpasses the ball. It's a fight in the net. Pinball's around at the Garrigan side, and Peterson shoots the free ball back to the Saints. Parrott setting up for Johnston, who elevates in and drives that one down. Johnston enforcing her will there, and it's 12-3 St. Ansgar. Parrott has just such a good sense of the movement on the court right now. She's distributing the ball and knowing exactly where the attackers are in each play. Bishop Garrigan will change the lineup here of Nielsen coming in place of Peterson. Bartolo to Nielsen, setting it up for Eastman, but that set is over the top of the net, and Eastman is unable to reach it. It is 13-3 St. Ansgar. They have kicked down the door here in this third set and taken a 10-point lead over the Golden Bears. Some discrepancy there with the lineup. I believe one of the St. Ansgar players pointing at Bishop Garrigan and commenting on the lineup. Garrigan did make that lineup change with Nielsen coming in. And now we will huddle here and get everything figured out. Oh no, check that. It's going to be a Garrigan point. They're going to give Garrigan a point. I think the Saints were out of rotation there. So it was the Saints who did not have the lineup correct on that last point, I believe, is what they will say. In either case, Garrigan gets the ball back, and it's a 12-4 score right now as the officials converse here. And they'll give Nielsen the ready for play now. So 12-4 as Garrigan will get a freebie there. Nielsen arcs it towards the back row. Played by Falk near the boundary. Parrott sets for Johnston. She got blocked right back to her, but kept alive by Saints. Tipped over by Osgood. Diving save by Nielsen as the ball flutters over the net. Meyer up to Parrott. It's put over on second contact, but it's a Bishop Garrigan point. The lift is called on St. Ansgar. Boy, that was a lightning quick set that time by Parrott. It almost looked like Parrott was the one that put it over the net, but just a lightning quick set for Johnston, but the lift is called against the Saints. 12-5. Here's Nielsen arcing it over the net. Meyer for a little trouble there, and she can't handle the serve. Nielsen just sends kind of a dead ball over the net. It looks like it's going to get all the way to the back row, but the ball just kind of dies out there, and you've seen a lot of back row players on opposing teams struggle to judge the serve of Nielsen. Nielsen sends a fluttering knuckleball to Meyer. It's overpassed. It's a fight at the net, and it's forced over. It is forced over by Parrott that time, enforcing her will in that one-on-one battle of Tigas. Parrott got the leverage that time, and it's 13-6 Saints. Something about having the high ground there ends up prevailing for St. Ansgar. Parrott offers the serve up to Berkey on the Bishop Garrigan side. Nielsen with the second touch, looks for Hoagland, left-handed attack, and she's going to miss. Out towards that far corner, 14-6 St. Ansgar. Some brief moments of momentum for Bishop Garrigan, snatched back away by the Saints, who retain an 8-point lead right now. Parrott rockets that one towards Berkey. Got it up front to Nielsen, looking for Eastman. Eastman tips it over the top, deflected, and the Saints can't return this one. Eastman with a good job evading the double block attempt of St. Ansgar. Parrott had the only touch on that play for the Saints, trying to lunge away from where the blockers were and collect that Eastman tip over the net, but could not get to it as it's 14-7. St. Ansgar doubling up Bishop Garrigan as Berkey serves off the top of the tape and ricochets back onto the Garrigan side for a service error. 15-7 Saints. Trying for their 17th win in a row here tonight. You look during the 16-game win streak, the Saints have only lost 3 sets during that. They've won 36 sets and lost 3 during this 16-match win streak. Serve received by Berkey. Nielsen will find Danker, and Danker had the ball blocked back to her, kept alive by Garrigan, forced over the net, and then tipped back all the way by St. Ansgar, and Garrigan will get lost there in communication as the ball falls in, 16-7. Boy, it looked like for sure Garrigan was going to have a point again there, but the Saints just execute the fire drill and keep the ball alive, and eventually miscommunication by Garrigan makes it 16-7 as a serve by Osgood flies out of bounds. Definitely a few more errors tonight than St. Ansgar would like. They've been serving aggressively, but at times they have given Bishop Garrigan the freebies here as it's 16-8. With an 8-point lead, you can afford an error too as Eastman guides that serve out of bounds along the far side, and it's 17-8 St. Ansgar. It'll be J.C. Johnston over to our left to serve. Johnston arcs it over the net to Eastman. Finds Hoagland, now looks near side of Bartola, tips it over the top, sent back the other way by Cruzy, and then pushed across by Danker for Garrigan. Parrott bumps it up high in the air for Falk. Towards the Garrigan back row as Eastman deflects it over to Nielsen. Right back to Eastman from deep, she hits it into the back row. Little trouble there for the Saints, ball is in the ceiling, it deflects backwards, and that one's gonna land on the St. Ansgar side. That attack by Eastman had the Saints tied up in knots defensively. And boy, this is a high ceiling, a cavernous gym here at St. Ansgar. It is very hard to get a ball into the ceiling here, but that's the first time tonight that we've seen one go up there in the rafters and hit one of the support extensions hanging down. The Hoagland serve received by Norby, and the set by Parrott is off target. I think that's the first time tonight I've said that sentence, as Parrott missed everybody there in the set, and it's 17-10 as Bishop Garrigan has it to within 7 right now. Hoagland, a shorter serve. That one just got over the net into the Saint front row, and then it's sent across by Cruzy, pinballed around by Garrigan, hit towards the back row, and it lands on the baseline. Total confusion on the Bishop Garrigan side, and it's 18-10 St. Ansgar. That serve just got over the net to Cruzy. Cruzy on the first touch guided that ball back to Garrigan, who on their first touch put it back on the St. Ansgar side. They were not expecting that ball to be returned right away, and everyone just got caught looking at that. They thought the point was over as service sent over the net by Meyer, diving save by Berkey for Bishop Garrigan as Bartola pushes it across. Meyer scrambling out of the back row to get it. Parrott sets it high in there for Falk. Falk drives that one down, deflected and kept alive with a nice play by Bartolo, who now sends it the other way. Norby up front to Parrott, looking behind her to Osgood. Osgood drills that one home as she spins it off the block attempt. The white for Osgood, and it's 19-10 St. Ansgar. Boy, is Osgood a great athlete, very mobile for St. Ansgar. You see it when she's serving, you see it when she's patrolling the back row as well. As Meyer arcs this one off the top of the net, and it will deflect and stay on the St. Ansgar side as that service there makes it 19-11. 2-0 Saints here in set number 3. 19-11 lead as the Saints are trying to finish this one off in 3. Garrigan trying for a late rally. His serve is line drive towards the back row, and it's just out of bounds by Danker. If the court was about 8 inches longer, that serve would have landed in play, but it flies out, and it's 20-11 Saints. Falk serves near side to Eastman. Hoagland looks over to Tegas, who right-hands it across the court. Saints set of Parrott. Here's the drive and the hammer by Cruzy. Elevating up above the net again and drilling that ball straight down into the hardwood on the Bishop Garrigan court, and it's 21-11. Cruzy is the top of Iowa East leader this season in both blocks and kills, and you can see why here tonight. Saints 4 points away from a 3-set win. Ball arced over by Falk, passed by Eastman over to Hoagland, and pushed across by Peterson. Meyer up front to Parrott, sets it high in the air for Falk, who flies in and hits that attack too strong out beyond the Garrigan baseline. 21-12 now as Bishop Garrigan will wrestle the serve back away. Another lineup change here coming for Bishop Garrigan as Haley Reitzel will come in. She will come in for Bartolo here and make the serve for Bishop Garrigan as Coach Schnurr wants to work in one of his seniors here before tonight wraps up and get Reitzel on the court another time. Reitzel arcs this over the net. Played by Falk, the set by Parrott, and the ball is drilled down again by Cruzy, continuing to enforce her will here in set number 3, and it's 22-12 St. Ansgar. Cruzy just stands above the rest, literally and figuratively, as the Saints are up by 10. Cruzy's serve popped up in the air by Reitzel, deflected by Berkey and pushed across by Hoagland. Cruzy gets it up front to Parrott. Here's the hammer by Johnston, and the finish. 23-12 is the exclamation point being applied right now by the Saints late in this third set. 11-point Saint advantage, up 2-0 and 23-12 as the serve sent over by Cruzy. Berkey passing up front to Hoagland, looking at Eastman. Eastman hits it into the back row, dug by Cruzy. Parrott pops it over on the second touch, and it'll be a Bishop Garrigan point. Lift again called on Parrott. Parrott's tried to do that a couple of times tonight. That top spinning ball on the second touch, and both times getting called for the lift by the officials. It'll be Nielsen to serve right now for Bishop Garrigan. A 23-13 score as St. Ansgar has the lead. Nielsen, a line drive serve, fielded by Meyer. The set by Parrott, the attack by Johnston, and the finish to make it 24-15. Johnston had to hang in the air an extra second there, timing-wise, but able to finish the point off. And the Saints have set point and match point, leading 24-13. Parrott sends it over. Reitzel overpasses the ball. Here's Norby up to Parrott. Sets it outside for Osgood. Osgood drills it. It's dug in the back row by Reitzel. Pushed across by Tigas. And the Saints are ready for it. Here's the set outside for Osgood. Osgood hammers off the hands of Reitzel. And the Saints will take it in 3 sets tonight. 25-13, 25-16, and 25-13. Golden Bears had some good moments in this one, but it won't be enough against the #1 ranked team in the state. St. Ansgar wins for the 17th time in a row, and they will play on Monday night against the winner of Lake Mills or North Iowa. Golden Bears season will wrap up with a record of 12 wins and 19 losses. We'll take a quick timeout, wrap it up from St. Ansgar High School after this on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
Thank you to these sports boosters, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Weikert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Nielsen Trucking, just east of Algona on McGregor Road. Your project is their priority.
Al Lobig Marine in Wesley, your authorized Mercury Repower Center dealer.
The Market, be happy, shop the Market.
Reitzel Excavating, unearthing possibilities one dig at a time.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Algona Feed Store, home for all your feed needs.
Bring you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio. Brought to you by these fine sports boosters.
Prism Wealth Advisors, your roadmap to financial freedom.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. Come get you some yum.
Murphy Realty and Management, serving Algona and the surrounding area.
Cook Scrap Iron and Metal. Home for all your new steel and metal needs.
Jagger Associates, North Iowa's roofing specialist.
Steyer Flooring. Home of the Floorinator.
Thompson Sewer and Drain, your septic specialist.
Jake Ingalls Electric. Shockingly good service.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
Thank you to these sports boosters, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Fairway Meat and Grocery, everything's easier, fresher, and faster with Algona Fairway.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
The Algona Manor Care Center, your home away from home with quality care.
Farmers State Bank, a strong history, a bright future.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage makes all the difference.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
Back to wrap things up from St. Ansgar High School and for the Bishop Garrigan season as the Golden Bears will fall to the #1 ranked Saints 25-13, 25-16, and 25-13 here on Hometown Radio KLGA Algona and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Our video stream, of course, brought to you in part by Chemna Auto Center, Algona Municipal Utilities, PMC Advantage Insurance Services, Algona Frame and Auto Body, Iowa State Bank, and Electronic Specialties as the St. Ansgar Saints are on to the regional semifinal as their bid for a third consecutive state berth is still live at this point. The Saints will play in the regional semis on Monday night against the winner of Lake Mills and North Iowa. But to put a cap on this one, boy, there were some pretty good things at times from Bishop Garrigan. You knew this was going to be a pretty tall task going up against a Saint team that had won 16 consecutive matches and not lost a single match to a Class 1A team this season. But like I said, some good moments for the Golden Bears. They came out and played competitively early, especially in the first 2 sets. You look back to set 1, Bishop Garrigan had it been 1 point at 11-10. They were trading off points of the Saints. It took St. Ansgar a few minutes to settle into the match tonight, but St. Ansgar closed that first set with a big-time hammer, a 14-2 run against Bishop Garrigan to pull away and take set number 1. Then in set 2 was a lot of the same. Teams traded points back and forth. Bishop Garrigan even took the lead briefly, but ultimately, after the score is 14-12, the Saints ripped off 8 consecutive points, and they would put away the Golden Bears eventually to win set 2, 25-16. Then set 3, it felt like a lot of the emotional energy, a lot of the mental energy had been expended already by the Golden Bears. They got behind early and really could never dig out of a early 9-point deficit against the Saints. They lose the third set, 25-13, and see the season come to an end. But Ultimately, I think Bishop Garrigan played about as well as you could expect them to here tonight. Like we said, it was going to be a big test against St. Ansgar, but it seemed like they had St. Ansgar scouted pretty well. They knew what the Saints were going to do. I was saying the term earlier tonight, anticipatory defense. It felt like the Golden Bears were moving ahead of the attack by the Saints, just trying to get into the right spot and anticipate where those big hitters were going to send the ball, and they did a pretty good job at times here tonight. Played some solid defense, but eventually the well ended up just breaking in the middle part of each of the sets tonight as the Saints' pressure was just too much. You got to give credit to the Saint offensive attack, and it starts with their setter. I mean, we said the name Sophia Parrott so many times tonight. Their 5'8" senior really only had, I think, one set where she put it off target. Everything else was just flush in the middle where the attackers could drill it. She took some passes that were really off target tonight and turned them into great sets, and that just saved point after point for the Saints. It just felt like every time Bishop Garrigan got a good serve and the Saints maybe struggled to pass the ball, Parrott would come around, bail out the Saints of a great set, and find one of those great attackers. And when the Saints had good execution, it was nearly indefensible. You've got the 6'2" Cruzy who's just elevating above the net and driving the ball down into the hardwood. Very hard to play defense against that kind of attack, so you can see the kind of weapons that St. Ansgar has and why they were able to defeat Bishop Garrigan tonight. Overall, though, the Golden Bears come away with this season and ultimately end with a 12-19 record, but you felt like in this rebuilding process for the Bishop Garrigan volleyball team, it was another incremental step forward compared to the past 2 seasons, and that's kind of what you're looking for. It's been a couple of seasons where it didn't end up a winning record, but you're seeing small steps being taken forward by this Bishop Garrigan team each and every match, each and every night, and you felt like they played their best volleyball this year at the end of the regular season and into the postseason as well. So I think that's something that really says a lot about the Garrigan volleyball team this year. And again, maybe not the final record they wanted, but definitely felt like a small step forward from last year's team and the year prior as well. So we'll see if they can do it again next year with a lot of returning talent coming back. Of course, 4 seniors do graduate for Bishop Garrigan: Allison Danker, Alyssa Hoagland, Haley Reitzel, and Emmy Bartolo all graduating. And certainly it's always tough for the seniors whenever your season comes to an end, but we'll be seeing a lot of those players on the basketball court as well, and in track and field and softball and who knows what else along the line for the Golden Bears. So their season comes to an end here tonight, but for a lot of them, the new season begins as they get ready for winter and spring and summer sports. So again, a salute to the Garrigan seniors. You know, you stick with it for 4 years. It's a big time commitment, especially, you know, for some of them, their main sport may be basketball, and, you know, that's leading right up to the season, but they've developed and really given a lot of time to this Garrigan volleyball program over the years as well. So certainly a hats off goes to them too. So again, the final tonight, St. Ansgar wins it in 3 sets, 25-13, 25-16, and 25-13. As one final update here score-wise, elsewhere in the bracket, West Bend Mallard is playing Newell Fonda tonight. The Wolverines have a 2-1 lead as they'll try to close it out at home. That game is going on over on our other station, KLGZ, 98.5 FM and AM 1600. Brian Wilson with the video stream on that one tonight if you want to watch the end of that on YouTube as well. As again, West Bend Mallard up over Newell Fonda right now, 2-1. But that'll do it for the Garrigan volleyball season and do it for us tonight. This has been a sports production of Hometown Radio, KLGA, in partnership with the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, as St. Ansgar defeats Bishop Garrigan tonight, 3-0.